music wasn't an escape for me. It was a way I felt better when I was really down from the rape, really down from the things that happened around the rape, because my parents knew about it. It wasn't that I wanted to feel better. It was just that I wanted to feel different. I didn't like this person. My folks are from Italy. My father was actually born in Italy. My mother was born here in the United States. My grandmother came here in 1912, and she bought 2 properties with a little store that she opened selling veal cutlet sandwiches. She came here with about $30,000 and died leaving $12 million to her children. I briefly talked about this with you. I went on a Boy Scout retreat and I was molested. I was held down and my clothes were ripped off and they tried to masturbate me, but I screamed so loud that they let me go. 2 older scouts. It changed my whole life. I mean, I was this outgoing kid, you know, singing songs for my parents and doing things. And then I was in my room reading a book with the door locked because I was afraid someone would come in and hurt me. Every therapist I ever had, and spent 37 years straight at one point in therapy once a week, says this was the defining moment in my life when everything changed and it built a foundation that was very weak. And it told me I wasn't good enough. It made me destroy the most unbelievable career in DJing. I was not the top, I was the top, that was it. There was no one else but me for a while. So I was in therapy at 15, 16, and then 17, the club opens, and I'm still with the same therapist. And I said to her, I'm playing records, and all of a sudden, the room goes crazy, and magic visits. I called it magic at the time. And she said, well, what is that magic? And I didn't know because I didn't have enough of a soul yet or enough of a self-worth to know that I was opening a channel with something greater than myself. I was dancing to things I loved. I'd learned the words to every song because it made me feel better. I spent 2 years on David Mancuso's dance floor before I ever put a needle to a record, except in my bedroom. And to have that experience, to know what it feels like on the dance floor, gave me a different perspective. I always feel like I'm partying with the people in the DJ booth. Like when I dance and sing in the DJ booth, not because I'm putting on a show, it's because I'm fucking having a great time. Going to the loft and just having that experience. I had a girlfriend at the time and I said, Robin, maybe we can open our own club. And we started researching how much it would cost. We put together a prospectus and we went to the only adult we knew, my brother, who was 10 years older than me. So now I'm 16 and a half, going on 17, and he's 28. And he says to me, did you know about the settlement I got? And we didn't. He had just gotten $10,000 and our business plan was for $10,000 to open the club. It was kind of an eerie coincidence, so we went with it. And it wasn't successful right away because we tried to do something a little different. And then lo and behold, David closed for the summer and everyone came to the gallery. Like I said before, it became a fashion industry watering hole. This is the first gallery. It was on 22nd Street. And this is 1973. There weren't that many clubs, and it was Calvin Klein, Willie Smith, the greatest designers who were available at that time, Halston. Everybody came to the first gallery. And I was 17. I didn't know how to handle it. I remember someone told me about this song, and you can only get it at one record store in Brooklyn. And I used to wear these little tiny short shorts and these big corky heels. And this place in Brooklyn was like not a place for a white boy to go back then. So the guy, I said, "Do you have this record, Sol Makossa?" He says, "Yeah." And he puts it on the import label. And I said, "How many you got there?" He said, 12. "I'll take them all." And I handed them out, David Rodriguez, Michael Capella, David Mancuso, our friends, Bobby Goodadaro, Richie Kazar, and Sol Makossa becomes a huge hit. Hits the charts without any airplay, and we start to realize we've got power. And not only that, radio stations were not playing these records. They wouldn't play them just because they knew they were popular in the clubs. They didn't want the clubs to become popular. But we were selling records, big numbers, without their help, and their songs were not selling. So we kind of flipped the whole paradigm. It was a surprise to us and a surprise to them that they didn't have power anymore. So for 4 years, radio stations, they were deprived of their payola check. They were not in power anymore with the record companies. And all of a sudden, when I went to get free records at CBS Records in Queens, we were there for DJ days. So we came in, David Rodriguez and myself, and we said, "Oh, we're here for DJ day." "Oh, what radio station do you work at?" And I said, "No, I work at a club, the Gallery." She slammed the door in our face. Slammed the door in our face. 6 months later, they were inviting us up to CBS in Manhattan to give us free product, and gave me "Love Is the Message," which became the biggest house song in the world. Still to today, it fills dance floors. And I often say this, that it was no coincidences. There are no coincidences that I was given "Love Is the Message," because I really do believe that we're off track and love is the message. It always will be. The first gallery gets closed down because we have improper fire exits. We get closed down and we start looking for a new space. David Mancuso and I end up around the corner from each other, the loft at 99 Prince Street and the gallery at 172 Mercer Street. And in the first year, we were the most popular club in the city. They wrote an article about the clubs in the city in 1973, and we were in it, and then in 74, we were in it, and then in 76, we were in it. So that period, we ruled. And people would come to me to break records because that's what I did. I played, like when I got a record and I liked it, that night, Love Hangover, the first night, no one had the record except me. I must have played it 8, 10 times. And then at the end of the night, they were screaming at the end of the record. I took the needle, put it right on the beginning, and played it again. Things like that were happening all the time. Turn the beat around, first person to play it. Sol Makossa, of course. Love's Theme, first person to play it. George McRae's Rock Your Baby, Rock the Boat, Savannah Band. I Feel Love, they brought me on an acetate. Mark Paul Simon brings me this acetate, and he says, "Nicky, can you play it?" It's the middle of the night, and DJs don't play records without listening to them in advance, but I just listened in the headphone and I heard something I'd never heard before. It was that kind of synthesized musical sound that really wasn't popular yet. And I knew it was something special, so I took a chance and I put it on. And they went crazy. Mark took the acetate back because he wanted to visit other clubs. I was so mad at him, didn't speak to him for weeks until he made Donna Summer call me in my house. She calls me up and she goes, "Hi, Nicky, it's Donna Summer. Nicky, would you tell them I'm not a drag queen, please? They're saying I'm a drag queen. I'm not a drag queen." Then Mark gets back on the phone and I go, "She is a drag queen, right?" just to get under his goat for taking away I Feel Love. But so breaking records left and right, but the kid in me, who was still incredibly needy, didn't know his self-worth, starts messing with heroin and becomes hopelessly addicted. My brother didn't want to watch me kill myself. He came to me at the end of the lease and he said, "If you don't get clean, I have to close the club." And I looked at him straight in the face and I said, "Close it." And I walked out the door. And he did. And then I went on to this place called the Buttermilk Bottom and I played there for 5 years. And then the drugs just ruined my life enough for me to be broke, not able to pay the rent, and wanting to die. And there were all these rumblings about this gay plague I was hearing about. The New York Times did an article about these gay men dying of a disease. And I go and start going to 12-step meetings. And I get clean. So I couldn't go back right away. I gave my life and my will over to the care of my higher power. I let go completely. And she sent me to a job working with people with AIDS. And I became just active in the community, active in ACT UP, and saw firsthand how prejudice and misunderstanding could reap such anger and fear and isolation for people. I eventually wrote a book, went back to school, got my degree in social work, wrote a book about HIV, became very popular, and so I'm into the 90s and I'm working with people with AIDS for 10 years. You have no idea what that could do to a social worker. It just wrecks you. You're holding people's hands while they're dying, daily. It takes a toll. And I'm meditating because that's what I do, because I've been in 12-step for a while and I'm on a spiritual journey. And I hear this voice and it says, "Quit your job." For 2 weeks straight, I heard that same thing in my meditation every day. And I said, "Oh, will you leave me alone? Okay, I'll give my notice." I went in on sheer faith, quit my job. 2 weeks, my last day of my notice, Francois Kevorkian calls me from New York, I'm living in Virginia, and says, "Would you come play records for Larry Levan's birthday party at Body and Soul, the biggest party in New York at the time?" This is the 90s now. And I went and I started DJing again and have been since. So in the 70s, I was DJing for like $15 a night. My best friend, Frankie Knuckles, who I started, he was blowing up the balloons at the gallery the first year, him and Larry Levan. So the godfather of house was blowing up the balloons at the gallery in 1973 and 1974. And in the 90s, there were all these DJ stars out there, really big DJs who were making big money. Now they're commanding millions of dollars. Is it any different, what you're doing? Well, it is different. And my preference is definitely for the old way. What they're doing in those big venues are totally pre-recorded sets that are pre-designed to work with the lights. The lighting is all, automated. Everything we did was on the fly. Robert DeSilva, when he worked my lights and he worked the lights at Studio 54, knew me from when I played. He knew what I was going to do. He worked the lights in accordance with my movements. This was channeling shit. I mean, we were in sync because we were just open to each other's energy. Going to a club should be like going to a Broadway show. One thing with a spotlight, and then it opens up, and then it closes back up. And you know what's changing because it's not watered down by 10 things changing at once. My new party, reunion, is gonna be in the living room. It's got lamps around the room that are the light show. They turn every color, they go around the room, they chase, they do everything that these things do, but without that look, all in your face. No, they're lamps on a table like you'd have at your grandmother's house. My first record was all live instruments. David Byrne played guitar on Kiss Me Again, my first record. Right now I'm working on a remix of a Valerie Simpson song called Sinner Man, which was like a pop, Motown-y sounding record. And we made it into this deep house record. And I used live sax, and I used a guy playing an organ with a kind of Hammond organ sound. And to me, it just makes the whole thing move better. It gives me that emotional response. My biggest disappointment was not getting sober earlier and the gallery closing at that time. I didn't know that when I was 16 and wanted to be the greatest DJ in New York and achieve that goal in 2 years, I didn't know I could set up a new goal, that I could go beyond that first goal. Owning a record company would have been great. Production. I was the first DJ to produce a record, not mix, produce. But didn't carry that through because of drugs. So my biggest disappointment was the gallery closing due to my drug use and not getting sober earlier. But then I wouldn't be the person that I am today. I understand that life is a growth experience, and that while you grow up and while you mature, you become better at what you do. My biggest win is in the future. It's right now, but it's in the future. It's the movie that I shot at the gallery, which has never been properly put together and released. There's no footage from the 70s dance club. And the movie that I have from the gallery was shot on 16 millimeter from Tisch students. So one day we're working on it. I'm excited. I'm so excited about life right now. It's palpable. It's transferable. It comes in with me in the room sometimes.